In Western civilization, we are trained, we are forged, we're encouraged to have a weak, timid, and fearful sexuality. We are not forced to have strong sexualities, fearless sexualities, active sexuality. And that is a negative in the formation of the personality because sex is a branch of the soul that is valuable. It is a force of growth. It is not a negative, it's a positive. Um, Sex can be negative if it's rape or if the sex is obligatory. Then sex becomes a negative. But if sex is remains positive, it adds to the personality of the soul. It doesn't subtract anything. A sexuality builds character. A sexuality builds strength. Somebody who has no sexuality, with a sexual paralysis, they live with butterflies in their stomach, which the stomach is the center of the animal, which means they have fears in the animal. That is what butterflies in the stomach is. They have elephant fears in the genital area, which is a mental area as much as it is a physical area. We say somebody has balls, which means somebody has genitals, grown genitals, powerful genitals. This is the same for a man as for a woman. The genitals are a mental part of the brain. They're not just a biological part of the brain. We've been trained to think that sex is for babies. And sex is not even 1% for babies. Sex arrives at the age of 9, 10, 11 years old for growth purposes, through adolescence to produce an adult. That's the objective of sex. Good sex will produce an adult, a man or a woman, which is different from an adolescent. How does the teenager go towards adulthood? Sex is a factor, is a very big factor in this. And if we paralyze sexuality, if we make it a forbidden fruit, which it is to this day, we prevent adults in the society. Real men and real women are a stranger to Western civilization. Western civilization, which is the dominant civilization in our age, wants to keep us in a permanent adolescence, which means obedient to authorities and weak in the dark about power and money. That is, being a permanent adolescent who just looks for how best he can serve or she can serve authorities. I mean, encouraging sex is not encouraging babies. Babies should be forbidden from anybody who is not at least 25, 27 years old. There should be baby permits. There should be precautions taken so that there are no babies made by adolescents. Adolescents are not ready for a baby. They're not matured in the mind. They don't have a wallet. They don't have the money for the baby. They don't have time for the baby. So they shouldn't have a baby. From the baby's side point of view, it's easy to be born somewhere else. There is a soul in that baby that can just find another womb. Why have a baby when there's no time for the baby, there's no maturity to transfer to the baby, there's no money for the baby? It's outrageous. This teenager pregnancy is a very big ordeal in white and black society. Abortion is a way to keep our society sane and happy. When an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old is stuck with a baby she doesn't want, we are creating suffering. We are creating outrage. The mother is unhappy. The baby's going to be unhappy. The father's going to be unhappy or not there at all. What are we doing? We're creating hell. We're not creating paradise. Paradise takes a science of preventing suffering and promoting happiness. We don't have these standards in Western civilization. It's a religious tradition creates a situation where sex is undesirable completely. A priest, a nun, a guru cuts off the genitals activity for life. That creates a very abnormal sexuality. And when that sexuality in a suppressed person comes out, it comes out all crooked. It's not a fluke that there's so much pedophilia in the priests, given the flagellation they give themselves every time they get an erection. In Western civilization, there is a strong emotional arrogance against sexuality, which is animal. It doesn't, the human heart doesn't allow the animal and doesn't allow the physique, which is also a mind as well as a body, to have its pleasures and its growth. And therefore, it creates a fear or a dwarfing of the animal and a dwarfing of the physique, which creates a terrible personality. This whole freezing of sexuality, making sex a forbidden fruit, is still going on today, 2019. It's still very difficult to have a fulfilling and happy sexual life. It's almost like an underground life. Sex, in fact, lives in the underground, in these crazy internet sites where sex is dirty and some kind of forbidden kind of activity like smoking cocaine. The sex is a natural medicine. It is a healer of the heart. It is a healer of the animal. It is a healer even of the physique and of the intellect reason. It is a healer of the soul. This life is very stressful, and sex is a force to remove that stress as well, which is important. It's better than medicine. But we don't understand sex in this way. Sex is not an enemy of the soul, as taught by the Bibles. All of spirituality is against sexuality. And therefore, that's why sex is forbidden. It's still a crime. It's still, I have another video called It's Committing a Bank Fraud, a bank robbery, right? It isn't. It should not be. We have to be easy with sex. We have to understand sex. We have to understand that sex is trying to make us grow. There's good sex and bad sex, right? We need the good sex. So we need to learn what good sex is. That's a different civilization. That is a soul well-being civilization. That is how the soul grows. We need to pay attention to what the soul wants. That is not the standard of Western civilization.